Let's now talk about your trip to Israel. I understand that part of it, of course, was in a personal capacity, and you wanted to visit places that are of significance to you in terms of your faith. But the part that was quite prominently raised in South Africa had to do with you meeting the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. You saying as the DA that you had meetings scheduled with the President Mahmoud Abbas of the Palestinian Authority, and of course that was cancelled according to you on the day that you were supposed to meet. What did you and Prime Minister Netanyahu talk about?
Well, firstly, I think it's important that we remind ourselves that our foreign policy position in this regard is a two-state solution. It's about safeguarding of human rights, and we'd never depart from that. So when I went to Israel, collectively, I went to both Israel and Palestine. I met business people and I met representatives from the various aspects. I saw all the respective sites for myself. And the discussion with the Prime Minister of Israel, I asked him two simple questions. I said, where are we on the progress around the two-state solution? So I needed him to give me an update on that. And secondly, where are we on the conversation around human rights? Because whether they are the rights of a Palestinian or a Jew, or the people who are living in Gaza, or who are the people who are living in the West Bank, human rights must be at the forefront. So that was the merit within which the discussion is. I have to, as a responsible political leader, uphold the fact that I've got to go there, interrogate the situation for myself, so I can make an informed view about where we stand on matters of the Middle East and the broader region, because the discussion there is now no longer just simply about Israel and Palestine. It is equally about what happens in the region in its entirety.
So was this just about fact-finding for you, or did you take the opportunity, as you say, that the importance of upholding human rights, did you take the opportunity to speak to him
Absolutely.
about such things as the expansion of the settlements in areas such as the West Bank?
Without doubt, as you know, that it was raised in the discussion really about the UN resolution that had just taken place around that particular issue. And I think it speaks broadly to the issue of the rule of law as it stands in its broader sense. And he had his own response about the fact that their withdrawal has had challenges in other aspects, particularly with their last experience that took place when they withdrew from Gaza. So the point at the end of the day is, when we deal with diplomacy, we've got to deal with it on the basis of facts, not just on propaganda. So it became important for me to see, to know for myself, and there are actions that I don't agree with that have taken place on both sides.
Did you tell him that?
Of course, we made our position very clear about we support a two-state solution. We support the fact that any acts of illegality cannot continue. And he was very clear about that particular point, and he took his own stance as he went, because if you hear his point of view, his fundamental argument is the fact that when they have withdrawn from settlements, around those settlements, other military options have taken place there that have put the lives of Israelis at risk. To which, at this point, I said, well, we must consider what the UN Council resolution says about this particular issue, and whether Israel will maintain the rule of law across both sides.
So what was your position after that explanation? Because, I mean, the expansion of settlements, and in fact right now the Knesset is considering a bill that will further allow the expansion in the West Bank. That jeopardizes the whole two-state solution that you're saying that you believe in. So you must have, I imagine, reached a point where you said to him, well, if you are justifying it in the way that you are justifying it, I'm sorry, we have to agree to disagree, because you fundamentally believe in a two-state solution, and therefore you should have argued for it.
We must do everything we can to achieve that two-state solution. And I've always maintained that my position now is that to strengthen the two-state solution, there must be a withdrawal on the part of Israel. There may need to be of a military intervention that makes sure that we keep the stability in the region, and where that intervention comes in to make sure the rule of law is upheld.
Did you tell him that?
Remember, you were asking me the question about what my position is now, because I had to engage and allow. It wasn't a long meeting. I needed to make sure I get his view. My stance as we stand now is that, and I did tell him that we still support a two-state solution. I support the fact that human rights must be upheld. And his view about human rights that have been upheld is that their coalition with countries like Egypt, etc., have ensured that there's some form of stability. I am telling you now that if we are going to entrench a two-state solution, there must be a withdrawal, there must be some form of military situation that must take place there to ensure that there's a peacekeeping mission, and that in the long run, both parties want that. The difficulty now that is standing in the Middle Eastern crisis right now is that the leaders who matter the most on this issue, whether it's Mr. Netanyahu or the president of the Palestinian Authority, and also what is happening with Hamas in Gaza, are not talking to each other. Therefore, South Africa, if I was to challenge the South African leadership, I would say to them, listen, we've learned the powerful lesson of transition through negotiation. We must make the consistent call that those leaders must be able to convene to meet to discuss this issue.
Mmusi Maimane, let's hold it there for a moment. After the break, we conclude our discussion with Mmusi Maimane, talking all matters DA and also some of the developments around the recent reports about allegations of an ANC war room. Stay with us.